to the Alchemy of Awakening podcast on Awakening Airwaves. I'm Holly, an ascension visionary, here to demystify the awakening and offer an eclectic blend of monthly wisdom and grounded guidance to help you navigate your journey with greater ease. I'll share powerful tools like the Akashic Records, channeling the universal sphere, and more. I'll share insights rooted in love, ease, and the deep knowing of your inherent brilliance. You came to shine, and this podcast is here to lovingly support you in doing just that. Hello, everyone. It's Holly Hawkins back again, and we are going to dive into the Akashic Records. And just by way of starting this off, kicking this off, I want to share with you that I am currently in my 15th year, I can't believe it's been that long, working professionally in the Akashic Records. I have been working internationally with clients via one-to-one sessions, as well as many of the different courses I've offered over the years and continue to grow with. So personally, the Akashic Records have been a real go-to spiritual tool for me in literally every single area of my life. The Akashic Records have supported me on my own healing journey, in working through issues in my life, and also they have been a really profound support in moving me positively in the direction of my dreams. And not only that, but the Akashic Records have also been a really invaluable tool for me in my business as well. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. I use my business's Akashic Records all the time to make decisions, move in the directions of my goals and my dreams, and also to refocus for success whenever I feel like I need it. Truly, I can't imagine my life without the Akashic Records. And I know that my life would be actually quite different than it is now if I hadn't said yes to them so many years ago. So let's dive in. Let's deconstruct what the Akashic Records are and how they can support you in living the magnificent, yummy, juicy life that you're destined to experience. So let's start at the very beginning. What are the Akashic Records? Because in order to understand what the Akashic Records are, we want to break down this beautiful root word here, which is Akashic. And the root of Akashic is the Sanskrit word Akasha. Now, Akasha means ether or space. It's like a primordial substance, a really elemental energetic of our creation. It's the invisible medium, so through which everything flows. Everything in our creation flows through the field of the Akash. And so it's a very highly refined, very sensitive field of energy, and we exist in it in every single moment. So it's not out there somewhere. It's this essential energy that we're swimming in, if you will, all the time. And it's so sensitive an energetic field that it saves or records everything into this field. So as the saying goes, it records every thought, word, and deed. And so when we talk about Akashic Records, we're referring to the cosmic Akashic field, the luminous etheric space, where every single soul's life journey, their intentions, their thoughts, emotions, and this goes into our past lives, into our present life, into our future potentials. All of that is held in this field of energetic memory. So accessing or reading the Akashic Records means tuning into that sacred universal space, opening up to the wisdom, information, and energetic understanding about yourself in the records. Now, people talk about the Akashic Records, and they often refer to it like as a library, like a place that you can go in and read a book and get information. So there are a lot of people who feel it very informational. I view it as a source of deep wisdom not just academic information. And more importantly, it's a place of us getting more into energetic alignment with our true potential. I'll share more about that in a minute. Now, this description that I'm sharing about the Akashic Records so far, it sounds pretty mystical, esoteric, but in fact, in truth, the Akashic Records are an extremely practical spiritual tool for those of us who are on our journey of awakening, of healing, releasing old patterns, really striving to be the best version of ourselves that's possible. And it's really ideally suited for those of us who have this big, huge desire to create sustainable change and for new experiences in this life. I'm guessing if you're here listening to this, you are relating to that and one of those people. Now, before I go any further with this, I do want to share something, is that the Akashic Records has absolutely nothing to do with any religion or specific doctrine. They are an energetic truth that we all exist within, meaning that we all have an Akashic Record. It's not about believing in the Akashic Records or not believing in it. Everyone has an Akashic Record. Now, there are some of us who might be at a stage in our evolution and our growth where we might be interested or curious about exploring and discovering what's available for us in our Akashic Records. But the reality is it's not required. You have an Akashic Record whether you're interested or curious about it at all. Okay. Now, if you are somebody who's curious about the Akashic Records or you feel drawn to them, that's great. If you're not drawn to explore the Akashic Records or discover anything about them, that's great too. It really is not a field of judgment. It's just like so many things in life. We have so many opportunities. If it calls to you, pursue it. If it doesn't call to you, that's great too. You're going to find your things that are going to be there to support you on your journey. So let's go a little bit deeper into the Akashic Records, a little bit of like Akashic Records 101, but in the Cliff Notes version of it. So the Akashic Records are really the energetic record of you, but at your soul level throughout time. As I mentioned, it includes past, present, and future potentials. So I like to call diving into the Akashic Records is the story of you. And by opening up into your Akashic Records and you learn to read and understand your soul's story from your soul's perspective. So it's a bigger container than just this lifetime, although it absolutely includes this lifetime. Now, I mentioned it includes past, and when I mean that, I mean past lives. So a foundational idea with Akashic Records is that we've been here before as a soul on this planet. We may have had a past life as a man or as a woman, and so those gender roles aren't important as much as the fact that we've been here before. And when we were here, we had experiences, and those experiences were recorded in our Akashic Record. And those experiences are recorded by your everyday, ordinary life. Right now, you're creating your Akashic Record by watching this video. You go to work, you interact with your family and friends, you exercise, you hike in nature, whatever it is that you do, all of that is creating your Akashic Record now. And so when you talk about past lives, what's in the record from your past lives are just that. What were you doing in your everyday, ordinary human life? Some of it still has an energetic connection to this lifetime and some not, because it is not impacting this lifetime. Now, in our present life, as I've said, we're creating it right now. And the future aspect of the Akashic Records is that it's really about future potential, because nothing's set in stone. We have free will. So it's more like energetically, if you kept going in the direction you're going without making any radical changes, these are things that are likely to happen, but there's no dictate that this will happen on this day at this time with these people involved. It's just not there as a future because, again, there's nothing that's taking away our ability to live in our space of free will and guiding our lives. So one of the things I absolutely love about the Akashic Record is it's really this beautiful, gorgeous, energetic field that, as I've said, we're connected with all the time. And this energetic field, what is the vibration of those energies? Kindness, compassion, understanding, generosity, gentleness, love. And these are all energies that we crave, that we're striving for. All of that is the energetic field that we drop into and work in when we're in our Akashic Records. So the contrast to that is what it means that doesn't exist in our Akashic Records are energies that we commonly experience in our human journey: judgment, criticism. And judgment and criticism could be our own self-judgment and criticism, or we might experience it from the world around us. That harshness, when we move into the Akashic Records, all of that falls away. It's not part of that vibrational field, okay? So I have a lot more to say about that, but I'll share with you when you can hear more about it, because I could talk forever about each of these things. I'm so passionate about it. But one of the questions that's often asked is, who benefits the most from opening to their Akashic wisdom, that Akashic level of understanding about who they are? The short answer is, the truth is everyone can benefit from learning to work with the energy of the Akashic Records, to understand themselves through that lens and grow into that potential that we connect with in the Akashic Records. Truly, everyone can benefit. But the truth is, as I've already mentioned before, not everyone's drawn to it, but everyone can benefit from it. But going a little bit deeper and more specifically, people who tend to be drawn to the Akashic Records, at least over all my years and thousands of interactions with people, they're the ones who are drawn to the Akashic Records are people who feel that there really is some truth within them that they may not have connected with yet, or that's not clear or consistent for them, but they really feel drawn to want to know what's my wisdom, what's my truth that's unique to me, where I may not want to follow and listen to all those other people. I know that I have my unique wisdom within me. Those are people who are often drawn to working in the records. And there's also a theme for people who really are drawn to work in the records, are those people who are ready to take responsibility for their lives, and those people who wish to move into their own empowered awareness. And so what I mean by take responsibility for their lives is they're moving past the tendency to think that everything that happens to them is a result of something else. And so there's that sense of being victimized, or like, I can't become who I want to be because of these outer circumstances. So people who are drawn to work in the Akashic Records tend to say, I'm willing to take full responsibility for myself, for what I'm experiencing, so that I'm in that seat of power to create the transformation, and feel like that what I'm dreaming about and desiring is actually possible. Another type of person that's attracted to work in the Akashic Records are people who feel really ready to unhook or disentangle themselves from energies that they've experienced in their past that are not supportive anymore. So we may have had early childhood experiences, trauma, upset, which pretty much we all have in one way or another, but we're ready to disentangle from those. They could be energies that actually have continued on from prior lifetimes. They could be ancestral patterns, but we're ready to unhook and find a new way that feels more aligned, more contemporary with where we are right now. The last type of person that I want to bring up that's really immediately drawn to work in the records are individuals, and this often falls in the light worker visionary category, but they're people who feel like they feel their dream, they feel their vision, they feel like they want to connect deeply with their purpose, but they're not quite clear exactly on how to access what it is or move toward it, move to embodiment of it. So I'm wondering if you hear yourself in any of these types of people who are commonly drawn to work in the Akashic Records. Because working in the Akashic Records really enhances our sense of connection with our truth, our unique, beautiful, soul-aligned truth. And as we enhance that alignment with our truth, it allows us to feel more confident in sharing our light, our gifts authentically. Now, I touched on this a moment ago, but I want to drive this home a little bit more. It's easy to think that the Akashic Records are out there in some other time, some other place. But as if we go to our Akashic Records and we're traveling somewhere else to a specific destination. But the reality is that when we open and enter our Akashic Records, what we're really doing is expanding our awareness and our energetic receptivity to the energetic space that we're always in. So in our everyday, ordinary human life, we might be more focused on our 3D reality, but that still sits in our Akashic field. So opening up to the records, we're opening up to include that in our information and understanding about who we are and what we're doing. And so this level of energetic awareness, again, always there. However, the reality is that we've been conditioned, or maybe we weren't even aware, that this level of understanding might not be accessible or even easily accessible. Typically, we source most of our knowledge, understanding via our 3D world. Literally what we can see, what we can touch, what we can learn, that's our data banks here in the 3D. But when we're accessing the Akashic Records, we're still interacting with our 3D world and including more energetic information that enhances our 3D experience. So what are we truly accessing when we're in our records? When you open up to your Akashic Records, you're opening up and accessing your unique inner wisdom. It's there, even if you haven't felt deeply tapped into it yet, and it always has been. But most of us were not taught to access this wisdom or that it was even there at an early age. It's okay. We're learning it now, and this is part of our awakening. We're breaking through old paradigms to create new ones. If you're of the age where you have children, you might start teaching them these things at a very early age, and they might not have to learn it when they're an adult. But this inner wisdom is absolutely unique to you and your soul's choice to be you. Because I love to touch into this, is that before you incarnated, your soul had a choice. And every single thing about you is your soul's choice. I find that so beautiful to open up and consider that. So your soul chose you to be you. Everything about you is what your soul chose, your vehicle, if you will, to expand through in this lifetime. And so when we begin through the Akashic Records to tune into this wisdom, we actually are more deeply aligning with our authenticity, meaning who we came to be. I've worked, my whole practice is serving and working with people who would identify themselves as light workers, energy healers, coaches, channels, intuitives, and more in that category over 20 years. And there's been this really strong thread of a desire to be authentic and express what's authentically bubbling up from their soul. And the Akashic Records is a way to begin accessing that, tapping into it, trusting it, and living it. Now, one of the things that you might already be getting a sense about with this is that historically, what we've done in our spiritual soul level journeys is we had a teacher or a teaching, a being or a system outside of us that told us what to do. And in this time, through our awakening, we really are discovering that that wisdom doesn't only need to be sourced from outside teachers, gurus, guides, spiritual leaders. So working in the Akashic Records isn't another being telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. It's supporting us in opening to our inner truth. We learn to trust what is there, and it will guide us in the right direction. So one of the benefits that I could make a whole list of benefits. So I have a short list of benefits that people experience working in the Akashic Records. And these aren't theoretical. These are things that people really have experienced, including myself. Number one, in no particular order, confidence. Just confidence in who you are, how you think, what you're here to do, be, and share with the world, sharing your light. Okay, so confidence. And what comes along with confidence is clarity. Clarity, again, who are you? What is it? What is your message? What is it that you want to share? How do you want to help? How do you want to be in this world? Where you get super clear on that. And with that clarity, you can move into my third benefit is aligned action. When we feel clear, when we feel confident, naturally, we get into aligned action that we know is supported by our soul's choice to be us. Now, what goes along with this also working in the Akashic Records is that we benefit by releasing energies and patterns that aren't serving us where we're at right now or where we're going. You may have had a pattern of thought or action or belief that maybe earlier in your life you said, wow, that really supported me. And that worked, and now it doesn't. So we don't have to make that pattern wrong because it served us well, even if it was in a past life or earlier in this life. Okay, it supported me now, and now it's outdated, it's outmoded. And I want to be able to release that energetic pattern and bring in a new pattern that's going to support me in this forward movement. The Akashic Records really are beautiful at supporting us in that. They also, a benefit of working in the Akashic Records is really anchoring us into our next steps towards our vision, dreams, and passions. Again, I've worked with people for so many years, and many of us feel like, I feel the vision, I feel the dream, I know where my passion is, I have no idea how to get there. And working in the Akashic Records supports you in, okay, you're going to do this, and then that, and this, and that. And it's so beautiful as a way to allow you to create that momentum, create that forward progress that, again, feeds into confidence, clarity, aligned action, all of that. A really lovely benefit of working in the Akashic Records is that it's expanding and increasing your intuition. You're working in this highly refined energetic field, you're receiving from that field. Your intuition actually emanates from your Akashic Records, so the more you're there, the more easily you interact with that field, and your intuition can kind of start popping off. You also can benefit from working in the records by expanding this deep trust in yourself. Again, I don't know if it's you or not, but I've had so many clients over the years talk about, I just don't trust myself that I'm making the right decision. And I just don't trust what I'm getting around this. So the more you work in the Akashic Records, the more you align with your soul level truth, and you do learn to trust yourself more. And so I just love that as a side effect. And with all of these shifts that I've talked about right here, these benefits so far, it really opens you up to move more and more into a place where you're naturally feeling more hope, a greater level of optimism, knowing you have this resource at the ready anytime. So when you get comfortable working in the records, if anything comes up, you start working it in the records. You know you're going to move through it easily with the clarity and the grace and the ease that you would like to have in any area of your life, okay? One of the beautiful things that I've touched on already is that the Akashic Records also really helps us find our voice. And not just our physical voice, but our energetic voice, our energetic transmission out into the world as we align with our authenticity, and we're here to share our light. It's such a beautiful spiritual tool that is so perfect for us as light workers who feel called to make a difference on the planet at this time. If you're somebody who feels like I'm here to help people, I'm here to help them heal, thrive, get to the next level of their greatness. Now, some of us as light workers, we feel that desire, but we're still holding ourselves back from playing full out. Now, we can dive into this, that often the reason we're holding ourselves back could be because of past life energies and experiences. They could be from current day beliefs of family and other types of social pressures. We might feel afraid we might feel afraid of consciously or subconsciously shining our light to then be chastised or even targeted by other people who aren't sure of what we're talking about or what we want to do, or who might just not align with what we want to share. So again, the Akashic Records are such an outstanding resource to help each and every one of us understand, heal, and release some of these energetic patterns that keep us from playing full out, that keep us from making the impact that we know and that we can feel within ourselves that we're here to make. So another question that I'm often asked is, how does working in and with my Akashic Records actually create the change? How does it happen? So I'm going to just touch on this briefly so you have this idea. I love this question. It's a great one. And at the core of this answer is the idea of energetic patterns. And I've talked about that already a little bit. But energetic patterns have created our lives. And so it's by working with our energetic patterns that create the change that we desire. So first and foremost, we are energetic beings. And at our core, we're energy. So who we are, what our interests are, what we're experiencing is literally created by what I think of as the inner architecture of our energetic patterns. And these patterns have been created in a myriad of ways, not just one. They could come from our experiences and our beliefs from our family of origin, any social groups that we're part of, what we feel and what we believe from the world around us. Now, also, these patterns can come from our past lives. And some of these energetic patterns come from our ancestors. And some come from more currently the social, political, professional groups that we're part of. They all have their own unique belief structures and energy patterns to them. So there are just so many ways that this energetic, beautiful matrix of you has been created. And all together, those thoughts, beliefs, experiences, those energies create that energetic pattern of you. And because we live in a magnetic universe, our energetic pattern naturally attracts to us experiences and people who are an energetic match. Like seeks like. So our magnetic nature of our energetic field will draw to us experiences and people that match. Now, what happens when we want to create change? We say, this energetic pattern doesn't feel so good anymore. I'm ready to release some of the beliefs of my childhood, or I realize I have expectations from past lives. What do we do with that? So when we want to create change in our lives, because we want that new experience, the most effective way to do this is by creating a change in our energetic pattern so it's changing from the inside out. So when we open to the Akashic Records, when we work in our energetic field this way, we literally are tapping into our core energies, where our truth resides, where our authenticity is, where our soul's intentions are more easily received, aligned with, and understood. Now, I mentioned the inherent energies of the Akashic field just a little bit ago. Well, those energies are what you're fully open to and accessing when you're in your Akashic record. You easily access and align with understanding, with compassion, kindness, generosity, unconditional love, patience. In and of themselves, these energies are extremely transformative. Just being in the presence of them begin to transform. But what these energies also do is allow some of that dross, the junk from our human life, to fall away. The criticism, the self-judgment, the fear, hesitation, the sense of unworthiness. All of these energies that come from our human living that are not inherent to our soul's truth have an opportunity to begin to dissolve or shift in the presence of the natural energies within our Akashic field. So we can energetically align with these beautiful energies, learn and receive from them in ways that transform us at that energetic level first and foremost. And then when we create change on that level, it's a change that is anchored in. Typically, it's not fleeting, it's not impermanent, it's there, it becomes a new vibrational frequency that we are. I like to think of this change as rearranging our inner energetic architecture, like moving the structures around so we're vibrating at a different level, at a different vibration. So we have an opportunity to magnetize differently from the field. And so when our energetic field is changed, then you begin to transform your thoughts, your expectations, your experiences, your inspirations, your desires, and your actions. So I am often asked about who can work in the Akashic Records, because I'm not sure if it's you, but many people feel that they're not spiritual enough, or they're not awakened enough, or they don't get it the way others do. And so that they self-select them out. Like they say, oh, not me. I can't do that. I'm not special enough. I'm not spiritually gifted enough. Now, I'm going to just say briefly, we're going to let that thought go. It's absolutely not true. So let's break this down. Why? First of all, you have a soul. Everyone does. And because you have a soul and you're in this Akashic field, you absolutely have an Akashic record. Everyone does. And your Akashic records are the record of your life throughout time. So of course, you have the right and the innate capacity to work successfully in your Akashic record. So no matter where you are on your spiritual journey, whether you're new to all of this or whether you've been consciously working on your spiritual journey for decades, you absolutely have what it takes to work successfully in the Akashic records. Time in your Akashic records deepens your connection with you. Your intuition will naturally expand. You'll trust yourself more. You'll come more into energetic alignment with your core energies, which are your higher self. So the reality is, if you're drawn to the idea of the Akashic records, please don't opt yourself out. You absolutely are good enough. You are, and you can. Okay? And I know so far I've been fairly esoteric about the Akashic records. So now I want to get a little bit more, I'm going to say practical or real world, because another question that I'm often asked is, what do I do when I'm in my Akashic records? How do I get anything, and how does that happen? So I'm going to give you a high-level vision of this right now. When you're in the Akashic records, the energies begin transforming through your, this might surprise you, your curiosity. Now that may sound funny, but when you're curious about something, what happens next? Generally, you ask a question, right? So that's why what I mean by the Akashic records begin transforming through your curiosity. That when you go in the records, you're going to bring what you're curious about. And what you want to do is be curious about what you're experiencing right now in this life right now. Like how to take the next steps forward toward your dream and vision, or how to understand and change patterns that aren't serving you anymore right here, right now. Because you are ground zero of your soul's evolution and your soul's growth and progress. If what you're experiencing now has a connection to your ancestors, it'll come up. If what you're experiencing now has a connection to your past lives, it will naturally come up. But it's because you're asking about what you're experiencing right here and right now, because this is the only place you have potency where you can act to create change. So those curiosity questions are bringing your attention to where you wish to focus your energies. Now, in your Akashic records, you do have a team of guides who are there in support of you. The guides aren't there to tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, but they're literally guides that you will be interacting with, and they support you, knowing where you are in your journey and what information will be most helpful to you now. Now, here's where we get to what I consider some of the fun part, although probably for me, you can tell a lot of this is fun. But there's so many ways to work with the Akashic records. It truly is an unlimited, expansive field of potential. So I want to just share a few of the other ways, other things that you can explore in the Akashic records. This first one I want to share, your ear may have pricked up about this right in the beginning, but here's my question for you. Do you own a business, or a part owner, full owner in a business? Are you a solopreneur, entrepreneur? If you are, guess what? Your business has its own Akashic Records. Even if you say, well, my business is me, you still burst something, your business has an Akashic Record. You absolutely can work in the Akashic Records of your business to support growth, goal setting, achieving maximum impact, revenue, and inspirational ideas, and so much more. I use my business's Akashic Records all the time in conjunction with my own. It's a game changer as far as I'm concerned. So another, what I think, fun thing to do with the Akashic Records comes into play if you are a creative. Now, what do I mean by that? Are you a writer, whether it's blogs, books, poetry, scripts? If you're writing a book, or another way you could be a creative is composing music, art of any kind, dancing, you get the idea. Anything that's a creative endeavor, each of your projects would have an Akashic Record. So for example, if you're writing a book and you're in process with your book actually has its own Akashic Record, and you can interact with the book as you are writing it to receive support, suggestions, inspiration. It's incredible. So, it's like having a muse for your creative projects via the Akashic Records. Now, another thing that I absolutely love is if you're somebody who's oriented towards animals, pets, if you're an animal communicator, each one of those pets actually has an Akashic Record as well. So if it's your pet, for example, you can really begin more deeply understanding them and your relationship, your why of being together. You can hear what they need to share with you, because often we're, as human beings, the sort of slower ones in the communication with our animals. It's a beautiful way to deepen and enhance your experience. Again, whether it's your pets or maybe you're a professional animal communicator, it really up levels that experience. And I've had many animal communicators in my classes over the years who say that it's just taken them deeper into communication and understanding with the animals that they do their sessions with. Another way to use the Akashic Records is with your home. Whether you rent your home, whether you own it, it doesn't matter. Your home, your building, whether it's an apartment, a condo, a cabin, a home, a mobile home, it has an Akashic Record as well. And you can open up the Akashic Records and you can really support yourself and your home to improve and optimize your home sanctuary by communicating with it directly via the Akashic Records. So many ways to do this. And there are many more. Those are just some highlights I wanted to share this time. So as you can see, I'm extremely passionate about this really beautiful, I consider it elegant, loving, kind, juicy resource that's available to all of us whenever we feel ready. I know for myself, I heard about the Akashic Records for a few years and I went, oh, that was interesting. That's curious, but I wasn't drawn to it yet. And then one day a friend said one more thing about the Akashic Records and suddenly I was all lit up. It was my time. So timing, trust timing, that's all. You'll come to this at the right time if it's right for you. I know for me, I came at absolutely the right time. And for me, when I finally said yes to the Akashic Records, I just felt at home. I felt like I know this space and I kind of felt like I was shot out of a cannon, and it's been an invaluable tool for me. So there's so many different ways to work and experience the Akashic Records. One is through literally a one-to-one session where you get to bring your curiosities, your questions, or you can learn to access them for yourself. You can learn to work with other people, like in a practice, or even just work with other people if you want to offer it to family and friends. I've had a lot of people who are energy workers, healers, coaches, therapists of different types who have come to the Akashic Records and found that it really enhanced and deepened their work with their clients. So if you're curious about putting your toe in the water, if you'd like to gently check out the Akashic Records, I am offering my introductory workshop coming up soon. It's on August 28th, and it's called Portal to the Akashic Records. And in it, it's just a 2-hour workshop where you're going to learn more about the Akashic Records. You'll be able to open your own records. Yes, in one 2-hour workshop, I'll introduce you to how I open the records, and you'll be able to open your own, and I'll be taking everyone on a guided experience in their own Akashic Records. So if that resonates with you, I'll have the link in the description down below, and you can check out and get all the details or click the link to join. And if you can't make it live, by the way, join anyway, because the replay will go out to everyone who registers. Very often I have a whole lot more people registering because I have a international client base, and not everyone can make it in that time frame when I'm offering it. Don't worry, you can still participate through the replay afterwards if you would like. Now, I'd love to hear what you're curious about after hearing about the Akashic Records. Are you familiar with them? What else is coming up around that for you? Feel free to pop your comments, any questions you have, into the comment section below, and I will be so thrilled to answer them for you. Please subscribe to Awakening Airwaves podcast and our YouTube page. All of us here at Awakening Airwaves are so excited to support you on your journey to live the life of your dreams. Many blessings to all of you. I'll see you next time.